Now we're not stuck with putting the effects on every individual event one at a time. We can actually apply them, for instance, to the entire project all at once, or we can apply them to everything on a particular track. We can even apply them to a piece of media, so wherever it shows up within the project, it has the effects applied. So let's take that a step at a time. I'm going to just right-click on the effects button here and delete all. So now we're back to the original look of the footage. And I'm going to go back and drag the same media clip down again, the trolley car. And what I'm going to do is line this up to be in sync with itself there, one track to another. And what I'm going to do is just split and delete this top one here. Actually, we're not going to see anything different visually as it plays across these different events because they're exactly in sync. One thing you may or may not hear is that the audio gets lower, and this is another thing about audio that is cumulative. So if you were to stack up even the same audio on top of itself, the more you add, the louder it's going to get. Keep that in mind when you're adding more and more audio things. What I'm going to do here is just apply the black and white effect to the event on the top track. And let's slide that all the way to 100%, or the value of 1 here as the slider goes. And now we're certainly going to be able to see the difference, even though the motion won't be interrupted. Okay. And suppose we want to, instead of having an abrupt change from black and white to color, let's go ahead and do a fade. And now the color should fade in. This neat effect is actually kind of easy to do. So let's do something a little different. I'm going to get Sleepy Kitten and put him over here on the same track. It looks just as we would expect. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these audio tracks, as we don't really need to hear the audio while we're working with the video effects. And there's our kitty. So, as I said before, we can apply the effects at different levels. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Also notice that you have an ability to bypass all the effects. So if you want to see the media without seeing the effects, you can do that and then just turn them back on again. So the first trolley here, black and white. Everything else is full color as we would expect it to be. But let's say we want to make our lives easier, and it turns out that either everything on this top track needs to be black and white, or we intentionally set up a track that everything we put on it is going to be black and white. And that way we don't have to individually apply the effects to every event that's on the track. So I'm just going to delete the effect here, and instead you'll see this same icon right over on the track header, track effects. It works exactly the same way. So let's, instead of using black and white, try out some film grain. So I'm just going to double click that, click on OK, and let's turn it way up here, extreme. And you can see that we have this extreme film grain applied not only to the trolley, you'll see it fade to normal when we can see through to the second track. Then we get to the kitty, and the kitty, because he's on this first track, also has the extreme film grain. And even after I do that, no matter what's dropped on the track here, and I'll bring the lacrosse game down. This time I'll show you how to do it if you just want the video without the audio, and vice versa. Just right click and drag. When you let go, you're going to have an option now: video only, audio only. Let's choose video only. Since it's a single piece of media, these two don't matter. I'm just going to click across time, and there you go. We didn't have to bother with the audio. Sure enough, the lacrosse game is now on our film grain track. And in fact, if I was going to use it this way, I would just double click in here and call the track film grain.